Hello and welcome to this midweek special of Back of the Net with a couple of Cherries heroes from yesteryear. In the past few weeks we've been very proud to have some recent players on the show, including Mark Pugh and Tommy Elphick, plus it's been great to wind back the years with chats to Marvin Bartley and Matty Holland. But in this show we're going even further back in time with some Cherries names you will know and love. Firstly, it's great to have one of Bournemouth's best left backs in the history of the club. A player who donned the Cherry shirt for 10 years, notching nearly 350 appearances for us. As well as numerous solid performances and a Harry Redknapp inspired promotion season, one of his key moments for AFCB was scoring the winning goal in the first ever Football League Trophy final, then known as the Associate Members Cup, when Bournemouth beat Hull City 2-1 at Boothferry Park on the 24th of May 1984. Great days. Plus, we've got a player turned assistant manager who played 117 games for the Cherries, described by Harry Redknapp as being possibly the best signing he had ever made in his 25-year management career. This player also helped the Cherries win the 3rd Division Championship in 86-87 with 97 points. And now he of course acts as the current Radio Solent summariser. So, if you haven't already guessed our guests this week, they are none other than Paul Morrell and John Williams. These two were instrumental in our promotion season to the 2nd Division back in 86-87, and in the second of those seasons, after promotion, they were part of a squad that put in a sustained effort for top-flight football. Ultimately, they fell just short, but they helped us produce some cracking football memories like these.
Hendry, beaten to it though by O'Connor, and here's Ian Bishop. And that's run into Colin Clark. Colin Clark's on a onside position. Colin Clark shoots, and Colin Clark has scored for AFC Bournemouth. Colin Clark only 4 or 5 minutes on the pitch, mistake in the Blackburn defence, and there was Colin Clark in an onside position. He took Terry Gallo on and called his slot of the ball inside his right hand post. So we had Roy the Rover stuff with Luther Blissett on Tuesday night, and we've got Roy the Rover stuff today with Colin Clark.
So gentlemen, thank you for joining us today. Mozzy and Willow. Mozzy, 10 years at the club. Must have felt like a lifetime, but I can imagine the lockdown has felt like a lot longer for you.
Absolutely, yeah, it's absolutely. I'm now getting pretty cheesed off of it now. So, but it's what it is, and we just got to abide by what's going on. But yeah, 10 years at the football club, fantastic, and some fond memories there. And
Willow, tough times for you because you've lost your shirt, I see today. How's it been for you?
Well, we've got to this position now, and it just feels like getting ready for pre-season. I'm not sure they're going to play again, if I'm honest. That's only a guess. I don't know what the government are going to do, but I don't think at this present time people's health's more important than football. Yeah, we have to go along with that. And if you finish the season at the moment, and I know there's big arguments against this, leave things as they are. Everybody goes to nil, and we start again when everybody can go back to work. Just at this present time, there's far more important things than football.
And I bet you're missing the media duties too, aren't you?
Well, of course, yeah. I mean, I'm like everybody else. We're all in a situation where you can't decide what is the next best move. But at this present time, you go with what the government are doing, and we just do the best we can. And, just trying to keep... It is a bit strange. Like I say, when we're trying to catch me in the garden, people are more friendly now, even though we're all doing that 3 meters away thing. I found people are much more hospitable.
Good stuff. Well, look, also today we've got Cherry supporter for many a decade, Neil Dawson, joining us. Neil, how are you? You all right?
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm very good. Thank you very much.
I know.
I was just reflecting as well. I was going through the record books last night. I saw both Paul and Willow's debuts, and I saw both their first goals for the club as well. So making me feel a little bit old.
Boy, oh boy. Yeah. I think we're all at that veteran level on this one. So anyway, we've got some really interesting times in football at the moment, and I'm sure we'll talk about more of that, Willow, later in the show. But
Okay.
for the majority of this show, what we'd like to do is reminisce about much easier and simpler times. So going in chronological order as much as we can in the chat. I just wanted to start with you, Mozzie. How did your football career start, if you can remember that far back?
Obviously, going back to school days, I went through the Paul schools, Dorset schools, and then went to Poole Town at 14. Signed my first semi-pro contract at Poole Town. Had to get permission from the headmaster at my school at the time, and it went from there to Bath City to Weymouth, and then at Weymouth they really mucked my contract up there. They dropped a bit of our money, our bonuses, and that got me away on a free transfer. And that's when, first of all, I went up to Wimbledon actually and spoke to Dave Bassett, and I was nearly signed for the Crazy Gang. I reported home to think about the move to Wimbledon, and then Harry phoned me up out of the blue and said, how would you like to come and have a chat with us at Bournemouth? And I said, well, I'm signing for Dave Bassett tomorrow. He said, no, you're not. Come and have a chat with us. Well, the rest is history. Harry did his work on me and sold the club to me, and I signed a pro contract at Bournemouth at 21.
And you tasted cup success for the Cherries in '84. Do you want to tell us about that momentous experience?
Well, 84. What was that? Man United, was it?
No, well, I saw that you didn't actually play in that Man United game, but didn't you win
No, I got injured.
But you
won the
Man
United game, Associate Members Cup, was it?
That's right, the Associate Members Cup.
Yeah. That was a strange one as well, because we got through to the final, and it was meant to be played at Wembley. And a week before, they had the Horse of the Year show on the pitch, and it coupled the pitch up. So in the end, they had to toss between home and away, and we lost the toss and had to go all the way to Hull City to play the final at Hull, which was a bit of an anticlimax in a way that, the game should have been played at Wembley. However, making that long trip to Hull, we come back with a cup, and obviously I scored the winning goal.
Was there any TV footage of that? Because I never saw the TV footage.
Yes, there is. I think somewhere I found it on one of the YouTube or something. Yeah. There was I can't remember where I found it, but and someone sent it to me as well, so I have got it somewhere.
Can you describe your goal for everybody?
Oh, it's a classic, absolute classic for me. No, it was one of those corners. I think a corner came in. It was a bit like a Willow flick on, but obviously he wasn't playing that game. But it was flicked on, and I come in and headed it in. I was really pleased with the goal. I didn't get many in my career. I think I only got 9. But obviously getting the winning goal in the Associate Members Cup or whatever it was called back then was absolutely brilliant. I think it was a first trophy for a while for AFC Bournemouth. It made the trip that much better, I must admit.
It was a strange period, wasn't it? That period, the 2 years before promotion, because there weren't really many indications that we would go on and have such a fantastic season as we did in 1986. The 2 seasons before were quite hit and miss. What was it like playing under Harry Redknapp during those seasons before success?
Yeah, I mean, it was strange because obviously when I signed for Bournemouth, it was Don Megson who was the manager, and then he got sacked very early on of me signing, and then obviously Harry took over, and it was strange times. I think it was the typical Bournemouth really. They just survived. They just done enough to stay in the league, and like the 2 years before us winning the trophy, we were sort of I think 56 points one year. We used to say once we hit that 40-point mark, we were safe, so we could sort of relax a bit. But that was the usual sort of. I think Willow would back me up on that. We used to say you get 40 points plus, we were safe, so that was what we aimed for. And then we knew we'd go on a good holiday at the end of the season, and we were in the league for another year. But, you know, as players, we never went in with that mentality. We always went in to win games and to do our best for the football club. And for many years, they've been in the doldrums. And obviously the build-up, even the pre-season, the year we won the league, we didn't win a game pre-season. We had crisis talk pre-season. Harry pulled us in and went through the lot of us. Cole Richards got the biggest slate in. Harry said he'd done his money when he signed him because he was useless. But as Cole told us, he said, don't worry about that, I'll get my component right when we start. So I rest my case. I mean, we were all a bit worried about it, I've got to be honest with you, because we didn't win a game that pre-season.
I remember going down, I think the final friendly might have been at Weymouth, because I think we lost 3-0. I remember coming back with my dad, and the year before, Colin Clark's goals had kind of kept us up. I remember coming back with my dad saying, there's no way we'll stay up. And you had just no idea what was going to happen that season. And it was just amazing how it's turned around so quick.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it did turn around. I mean, that's we started the season, and I don't think we even had a really good start to the season, the year we won the league. I think we were just getting results. And obviously, as the season went on, we started to get a run together. And coming up to Christmas, we hit a few injuries, and we thought, oh, crikey. And I think Martin Newsom went up front for a couple of games. I think he was up front at Bristol Rovers. But we got through that spell of injuries and everything else, and we went on an unbelievable run. I think only losing, 2 games, and going right through to the end of the season. And it was touch and go because Middlesbrough were pushing us, and they were only 3 points behind us. And they were neck and neck with us, and we kept, looking at their results. But, we had that mentality in our side. Willow, I tell you, we went out with that attitude that we're never going to get beat. We had some good players there. We had a good team spirit there. And I think that we went out with that mentality that we're never going to be beaten. We're just going to go out and do our best and get the results and grind out results. And we did grind out some good results. And we didn't play very well on occasions, but we kept getting the results, and it kept picking us up that league and kept us on the top of the league. So, yeah, it was an unbelievable season.
I was just about to ask Willow a question. He's got bored and walked away. I hope he's coming back.
Sorry, I was looking up. There's a beautiful girl outside the window. Sorry.
Genius. I was going to say, Willow, you were one of the signings mid-season, weren't you? That probably because of that injury crisis, Harry came looking. Was that the reason why you joined Bournemouth?
Well, it was Christmas when it happened. It was very strange the way it happened, because in the pre-season, I'd met Harry and Brian Tyler at a tribunal where I was going from Tranmere to Port Vale, and they were taking Colin Clark, my teammate, from Tranmere to Bournemouth. And I think it was Colin who was responsible for me ending up at Bournemouth. And, well, it just changed my life completely. As soon as I got there were so many leaders in the camp. Tony, Sean, Mozzie, of course, Jerry, Trevor Aylott. I mean, there was me and Richard. There's me and Richard Cook, who were the newcomers.
Yeah, Willow, I remember when you first turned up at Rotherham, I think was when Harry signed you. I think we were getting beat at half time, and I think we got beat up there. And I think he put you right on the spot, Harry, in the changing room after the game. And he said to Willow, go on, you tell them what you think of the players. And my God, Willow, let us have it. And he said, he's just signed for us. He hadn't even played a game, and he's having a go at us. I thought
it was just that sort of setup, though, wasn't it? Nobody held back. We're all decent players for sure, but there was just so many leaders in there, and Harry just pushed it over to me, and I didn't go too heavy, I don't think, Moz.
Well, I think it certainly felt like it. No, it was probably well worth the criticism we got, because we were poor that game. And as you say, you were a terrific signing. And when he signed him, you brought another leader into the squad, and tightened us up at the back and just gave us that little push for the rest of the season, you know. So it was a great sign on Harry's behalf, you know.
And Cookie as well.
Yeah.
Richard Cook
as well, yeah. Absolutely, and it was a place to go and drink when he was in the hotel. It's fantastic. We had some great meals there.
we had a great time on and off the pitch, I must admit. I don't think you could do it nowadays, but we did then.
Oh,
I was going
to
ask that question actually, because it was a team that, I mean, I always remember you'd bump into a lot of you out and about around town of a night time. Other than Tommy Heffernan, who's the obvious one, who were the biggest lads for a good night out?
Go on, Oz.
Where do you start here, Willow?
All the best.
Yeah. No, I think you go on, Willow. Go on.
Mark Newson, the captain. Noose. And then Mozzie a close second. Then me a close third.
The thing is, Harry knew that the ones that used to go out and have, you know, socialise, as we called it, which was basically, I mean, Wednesdays was our drinking day, and it was when we'd go and see the reserves play at the ground, and then we'd start off at Abbey Lawn Social Club, game of snooker, put the jukebox on, a bit of Jamiroquai, a bit of music, a bit of a boogie, and then we end up down Little Peter's.
Little Peter's. God, now you're going back in time. Gee.
And then we probably end up in Bumbles, falling off stools, but you know, and then we turn up for training the next day, knowing it was crossing and shooting, so we all had a bit of a hangover. But little Richard Cook knew that, and he used to smash the balls in our heads. Like, no, that's hangovers. But no, and sometimes we used to turn up at the ground. I think Mark Newson turned up one day, his eyebrows was all shaved off, and he had a couple of plasters over the top of his eyes. And
I know who that was.
And Harry just took one look at us and just went, "What the hell's going on here?"
You know who's done that? Ian Bishop was out with me in my flat, and he'd done Noose's eyebrows.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
So, but Harry used to sort of look at us and go, "Right, you better be, you know, trained right." We always did. The thing is, as you say, you worked hard, we played hard, but we always gave 110% in training.
Always.
It didn't affect us. No. I think the only time it did affect us, I think we went to Portugal on tour one year, mid-season. I think well, was it all pre-season? And I think Brentford were out there and Brighton.
Oh, yeah.
We had a couple of bad results. Oh, we had a good result. We drew and then we won. And then Harry said, "Right, you can go out for a drink." Well, Red ran for a ball for me, Willow, and the boys. And we went into town, had a few drinks, and and it went from bad to worse. And of course, you know, a few things happened. I can't really go into detail.
I know what you mean.
And we ended up Harry coming around all the rooms saying extra training in the morning. And of course, he was running around in about 100-degree heat around a park. And of course, me, Willow, Noose, Bish, we were all right. We got on with it. But Sean Close and Cookie were puking everywhere.
Yeah.
And Harry said, "I told you can't drink with those Premier League drinkers. Stay clear of them."
Oh, classic. When you actually were both involved at the club, what was the financial situation like? Because there were a hell of a lot of you had come into the squad on free transfers, hadn't you?
Not me.
I got away from Weymouth because they mucked my contract up. So obviously I signed for Bournemouth on a free. But yeah, we went through some real bad times. I think we were in Ireland on pre-season tour, and I think we just heard on the news that Bournemouth had just been sold. I think they'd sold it to a building company or something. And of course, we were out in Ireland on tour, and then of course we went across to Germany after that. But we didn't know what the club was up to. They'd sold the club. I think it was Rodney Barton or something. I can't remember the ins and outs of it. But they sold it, and I think a consortium bought the club back in again. So it went through some really bad times. I mean, I was there when we had no wages. And I think Norman Hayward bailed us out a couple of times with our wages. So yeah, it was desperate times, early doors. financially they want a secure football club. They wasn't paying massive wages, but they had a few financial problems.
How would you describe the team's style of play? Because it was a strange side, because it nearly beat the points record for the time in the league, but there weren't any major top goal scorers. So I think 12 or 13 goals was like the highest score in the side. It was more of a hard working side, wasn't it, than a beautiful side, as I remember it.
1-0. That was our style, 1-0. Anything else was a bonus. Once we went ahead, no chance. We didn't concede.
Yeah.
You were a very physical side as well, because you had Tony Pulis, the sort of hard man in midfield, and obviously, Willow, you were a bit of a physical specimen in your day, weren't you, at centre half?
Let me tell you a story about Tony Pulis. We're in Magaluf, as teams did in them days. We're all there, Mozzie, me, Cookie, Tony, Sean, Trevor, the whole team. We're walking along the street and we see Warren Aspinall. Remember Warren?
Yeah.
I remember
him. Played for us.
He did.
Of course. And he's playing for Aston Villa. We walk past this bar and he says to Tony Pulis, how you muppet, how you doing? Now there's me, Sean and Tony, three of us, and the whole Aston Villa team. Tony goes to get stuck into them. I'm following. But the wise mind, Sean, says, hang on, there's 12 of them and 3 of us. Leave it. Tony waited 3 years till we drew Portsmouth in the FA Cup before he got his own back on Warren. He cut him in half. I thought he broke his legs, his ligaments, everything. Warren got up. I couldn't believe it. It was unbelievable. But so Tony doesn't forget.
No.
I can remember a game where we played Millwall where Tony Pulis was marking Terry Hurlock, who a lot of people remember. And it was like a game within a game. The two of them just smashed into each other all game and then walked off the pitch arm in arm.
Yeah.
At the end of it. Yeah.
That's the way it was. Yeah, in them days. Yeah.
But you also had some real talent in that team. I mean, I remember Carl Richards, some of the goals that he scored. He was a fantastic player. And that season for him, that 86-87 season, I mean, he was on fire, wasn't he?
Unbelievable. In training, if you tackled him, it was like tackling a bag of spanners. He was hard as rock, very quick, a great lad, by the way. I loved Carl. I still love Carl. We had a reunion not too long ago, and Carl was there, and he was the life and soul of the party.
You had that. One of the features of that season was that amazing corner kick routine. It seemed like we probably scored more goals from it in memory than we actually did. But where Cookie used to land it right on your head and you flick it onto the back post, did you practice that a lot?
It wasn't. Cookie was later.
Was it
Des O'Connor? It was Des O'Connor.
Mark O'Connor.
Yeah, but that's what we called him, Desi. So, honestly, he used to clip them in and get them close to me, and all I had to do was glance it. Mark Newsom took quite a lot of goals from it. I think you against Hartlepool, Mozzie, got on into one of my flicks. Remember that one?
Yeah. FA Cup, free play at home.
Yeah. So Mark O'Connor was the instigator, then Cookie, and then Bish. As the years just rolled on, I get mixed up with them sometimes because players come and go around Christmas and you think you're in the same team, but you're not. But but definitely Mark O'Connor was the one who clipped it, a great ball in, so I could flick it on. Clipping the ball in was one. That was the championship season. I scored at Swindon. I clipped it the other way into the net, which was a bit of a slight mistake, but it paid off. What about this for a Harry story at Swindon? Again, I'm not sure it's Luke.
Oh, yeah. Sean Driscoll, wasn't it?
Yeah, I tell it all the time, but I love Tom.
Brilliant.
Right. Sean goes up for a header, gets banged on the head, down like a sack of bricks. Steve Hardwick goes on, and he's doing all the fingers and how are you and all that business right by the dugout. And he shouts to Harry, he doesn't know who he is. Harry shouts back, tell him he's fucking Pelly and get back up.
Genius. What was it like, Mozzie? Because you were the only homegrown player in that side, and it was a classic Harry Redknapp team of people bought from many parts. Most of them were making their sort of first season appearances for the club that year. But you were like the only guy from Dorset, weren't you, in that team?
Yeah, it was obviously local boy, signed for his local club. Very proud moment, I've got to be honest with you. Yeah, I mean, there was players coming and going. Even when I first signed, it changed so much from that first season to when, obviously Chrissy Sully went. I think Phil Brignall went. Milton Graham. It was a massive change around, and the change from 83 to up to the 86, 87 season was massive. But, players were coming and going. Obviously, I broke into the side. I was actually playing left midfield, I think, when I first broke into the side. And then obviously when Chrissy Sully left, I was reverted back to left back, and the rest is history, really. So, yeah, the players were coming and going, and it's quite weird because you turn up pre-season not knowing who Harry signed, or you're meeting new players all the time. But it was interesting. I've got to be honest with you.
What was he like? What was he like when he got angry? Did he ever used to?
Harry got angry.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I've had a few of his tantrums, if you want to call it that. And this one was at Swindon away, and I think we were 2-0 down, I think, and I got booked. I think I whacked Dave Bamber, who was playing on the wing for Swindon, and I got booked, and we got back 2-1, 2-2. And then Tommy Effman got sent off for whacking Bobby Barnes. And then as we got back to 2-2, Dave Bamber, the ball was put over the top of me, and of course Dave Bamber was through on goal, so I've taken him down, I've sived him down, knowing I was going to be sent off. So anyway, red card comes off, I'm sort of leaving the pitch running, and I see Harry running along the pitch, and I think, God, he's going to have a right go at me. So I've run down the tunnel, run in the change room. Tommy Effman's just come out the shower, drying himself. He said, "The game finished, Mozzie?" And I said, "No, I've been sent off." He went, "Oh, fucking hell, I'm getting out of here." Before Harry comes in. And I honestly, I went in that shower as quick as I could to get out of the changing room. Too late. Harry come in, the teapot come over. He said I cost him the game. I think he got beat 4-2 in the end. Harry used to lose it on occasions, but if you've done wrong with Harry, and he sort of laid into us a little bit, but we could all take it. We're all men in those days, and if we deserved a bit of a bollocking, we took it, and we just said, right, next game I'm going to show you H. That that was just a one-off type thing, and but we never really let H down. We always give him 100%, and Willow was just just like that. I mean, the whole squad gave Harry 100%. That's the thing Harry got out of his players. The determination and the character. And you could be, I'm not just saying this disrespectfully, you could have some ordinary players there, but Harry would get the best out of them, and he would do it in his way. He knew the players he could bollock, and he knew the players he had to sort of mollycoddle a little bit. So that's the, Harry's unique style.
And tell us a bit more about Middlesbrough, because they were the closest rivals, and I think first half of the season, I remember they tonked us 4-0 up at their place. But we had quite a big game against them in the second half of that season, a midweek night, wasn't it, at Dean Court, which was a bit of a turning point into who was going to win the championship that year.
I'll tell you what, They were staying in. Do you remember the Mole House? It's called something else now.
Yeah. The round
Yeah.
Carrington Hotel.
Carrington, yeah. Me and Cookie were in there, and we, about 1 o'clock, we went for a walk down Boscombe Gardens, and all the lads, Middlesbrough, were all there walking through, and they give us plenty of stick, I'll tell you. Geordie lads, you know, Tony Mowbray and who else?
Gary Pallister.
Bernie Slavin. So, of course, we had to suffer it. It was just me and Cookie. He wasn't going to help me out. So we've gone back to the hotel, and I said to Cookie, if we win this one a day, we could have done it. It was going to be a big step. And getting to the ground that night was unbelievable. There were so many people. They say 12, 13,000 to get there, get in the change rooms. Anyway, we get a corner as the game starts, and the Middlesbrough fans were all in that bottom right-hand corner. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
In the stand?
Yeah.
And they shout to him, if you put a good ball in here, mate, we're going to stab you. Not a very nice thing to take a corner to, is it?
No.
Anyway, Cookie being Cookie, put the ball in, but I think there's a flick on here. Mark Newson scored. O'Driscoll scored.
He did.
Bobler, yeah.
Did Trevor score or penalty? No,
there was a penalty, I think.
Not sure, but anyway. We won the game, and that was such a big. You just think about it. It changed things.
Yeah.
So again, we went up to celebrate. I'm staying in the Morehouse, Carrington. We were already in. What's that one on the corner by the beach? Don't know. The can't name of the bar. A bit further on, just by the Bic. That one on the corner.
Oh, yeah.
What was it called?
Can't remember what it's called. Not the
Doesn't
Exeter.
matter.
Anyway.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Silly Nuts decides we're going to drive back to the Carrington. Why? We could have got a taxi for £4 or £5. Who knows? But I get pulled. And of course, I've been drinking. I was okay. I was, not absolutely gone, but I get pulled for drink driving. And my mum and dad had come down the next day just to, be with me for a week. And I said to Brian Taylor, is there any way you can keep this out the papers? Because I don't want my mum and dad to see it. He went, of course I can. No problem at all. There. Wednesday, front page. Bang. Absolutely nailed. My mum murdered me.
Was it at the Middlesbrough game that you kind of thought, this is it now? At what point did because it always looked like a team that was going up. There never seemed much doubt. It didn't have a spell like Eddie's sides used to have occasionally where they lost a few in a row. That side just was like a machine. Was it the Middlesbrough game where you thought, this is it now, we're going to do it?
No, I would go to Fulham. I'm always... Well, I thought that the Fulham game was once we got promotion, then we could change our thoughts. But I understand what you're saying with the Middlesbrough. That was very important. But wow,
Willow, do you remember Willow? Prior to the Middlesbrough game, we had that mill, didn't we? That sort of do down at I think it might have been at the same hotel, and the bloke from the leather shop offered all of us. He said to Harry, if you win the league, he said, I'll buy all the player bomber jackets. You know, the leather fighter bomber jackets?
It was like the American ones, wasn't it?
Yeah, the old collars.
Like Top Gun, yeah.
That's the one. And he said to Harry, if you win the league, I'll buy all your players one, thinking they'll never win this league. And anyway, I think the Middlesbrough game was that game where we won 3-1, and we thought, yeah, right, we can push on from here. And lo and behold, when we won the league, Harry went to the leather shop and said, the lads are coming down tomorrow for the fitting.
Definitely.
Bomber jackets. Yeah, we had all bomber jackets. I think I've still got mine somewhere.
Excellent. What do you remember of that Fulham game? Because that was a massive match.
Me neither. I tell you what, though.
You scored, Willow. You scored in that one, didn't you?
Yeah, the wrong end.
Oh, yeah, that one.
Jeff, leave it. Jeff, leave it.
Thanks for that one. Well, I just couldn't get it away. But whatever you want to say, it's my fault. No problem. But I won the penalty that Trevor scored the other end.
Yeah, you did. So I remember that.
And then Tony Seeley.
What a goal that was.
Absolutely.
I actually had a go at him, prior to him scoring that goal. I mean, if you look on the footage, he picked the ball up just inside their half and started to dribble forward, and I went on an overlap down the left-hand side, and I was in, and I was shouting, give me the ball. And as he shot, I said, you greedy, what a goal.
Sometimes happens that way, doesn't it? I remember,
Yeah.
What time did we kick off? Was it 11 or 12?
Yeah, 12 o'clock, Willow, it was.
It was 12.
It was definitely early because
Early one.
we got back, went to La Lupa for something to eat, drinks, and I was in bed by 8 o'clock. Yeah,
we were hammered, weren't we?
Champagne all the way back. Very nice. Very nice.
It was a hot day as well. Hot day.
It was a hot day.
Tough game to play in as well. Yeah.
We've got a question. We've got a question from Andrew Parkin for you. He said, "Have you still got hold of Harry's training top that he wore after the Fulham victory?"
Do you know, that's so strange, because what happened was, after the game finished, I gave my shirt to a supporter behind the goal, and then we went in the changing room. I don't know why we went in there, but we did. And I just picked anything up off the floor and put it on just to go back out. And I didn't know, but I've seen photos. It's got Harry HR on them. So that's
a Royal Highness, Willow. A Royal Highness.
So that's the mystery cleared up.
But you don't still have it?
Unfortunately not.
Did you go away as a team in the summer to celebrate that? Did you have another Magaluf trip or anything after that?
Yeah, Portugal.
Mozzie, they're trying to trap us. Be careful.
Yeah, I know they are. I'm not saying a word. My lips are sealed. We had a trip to Portugal end of season. It was one of those trips. I think. No, I've got to tell you about Tony Pulis and Mark O'Connor. They were the tightest people you'd ever meet. They had longest pockets, wouldn't buy around. And we went to Portugal, and I think Willow and the boys found out that they had smuggled or they'd taken over food to have in their room rather than going out and buying the food. And anyway, this day they were out, so Willow and a few of the boys, we broke into their room and ate the lot: angel cake, crisps, tuna fish, and we just left the baked beans. We left all it on their beds, and of course, when they came in, they weren't happy at all. They I think they disassociated themselves with us, but the food was nice.
Yeah, very nice.
How does it feel that you and that team, you hold the club record for the most victories in a season still? I mean, 29 wins was an amazing achievement. I mean, that must give you a lot of pride, doesn't it?
Of course. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. The whole thing, the 86, 87 thing, the best time of my life for football, girls, everything.
I mean, for years, people were saying around Bournemouth, Bournemouth don't want to go up. They haven't got the facilities to go up. And you heard this all the time. But as for players that played that season, that was never, ever part of, in our vocabulary. We were going for it. We wanted promotion. And I think for years, people said that, we don't want to go up. Bournemouth don't want to go up. But that season was just amazing from start to finish, on the pitch, off the pitch. It was just fantastic. We had some great times.
You'll never have friendship like that unless you win something together. We'll be friends till the day we die.
And something that we're proud of as well, because that was the first Bournemouth side to get up into the old second division, now the Championship. So there was a lot of pride there amongst the players, and we went with the flow. At the end of the season, we were invited everywhere, to banks, to charity dues, to you name it. We were drinking nearly every day after that. We were going to all sorts of functions, the way supporters do. I was an alcoholic. I had to go to rehab.
That was good times, great times indeed. The first season up was quite a slog, though, wasn't it? It never felt 100% comfortable. I mean, I think we secured promotion secured safety pretty clear towards the end, but at times it felt a bit dicey, didn't it? At times,
the whole time was dicey. I can remember being on the beach, and the fixtures came in, and we seen the fixture list, and I looked, and I'm going, Aston Villa, Birmingham. Oh my God, we're in trouble here. But it wasn't like that. I think if you check the first 5, 6, 7 games, I think we were in 6th place.
That time, you sort of hit the prime of your playing in those first 2 years in the Championship season. There was a lot of speculation at one time in the press of clubs watching you. One that I remember got mentioned was Liverpool. Was there any truth in that? And did you ever come close to leaving?
Yeah, the Liverpool thing. I saw, I think it was one of the papers, national papers, that they were watching me. And I think we played Wigan away in the rearranged fixture when we got snowed off. I think it was that year. But we went back up there. And I can remember training. We went up there the morning of the game. And we trained and went back to the hotel, had some lunch. And Tommy Epperman phoned me room and said, Mozzie, come here. And I said, what's up? He said, just come here. So he had a cut-in from the Liverpool papers saying that Liverpool had offered $250,000 for me, for Bournemouth left back Paul Morrell. And he said, I think you're on your way, mate. Anyway, got to the game, and Dalglish was at the game. We won 2-0, played really well as a team and myself personally. And I saw Harry and Dalglish talking in the bar, and I thought, right, I'm going to have to grab Harry on the way home and find out what's going on. Anyway, said to H, he got on the coach, can I have a word with you? And he said, well, give us 10 minutes and I'll call you down, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I came down, the coach sat next to him, and I said, what's this about Liverpool, H? And he said, no, they're not interested. I just put it out there to see what interest I got for you. So I threw the paper at him, and I said, what about that? And he said, oh, yeah, well, yeah, come and see me tomorrow. We'll have a chat. So I said, okay, that's fair enough. And went to the ground the next day and said, look, I want to go to Liverpool. It's a great move for me. I was playing really well that season, top of my form. It's been a great move for me. In the end, Harry said, look, you're in my plans. I'm not letting you go. Here's a 3-year deal. We thrashed out a contract there and then. He obviously increased all my money, made it worthwhile me staying. I said, what if I don't sign it? Well, I won't tell you what he told me. But I did sign the contract because I knew he wasn't going to let me go. In those days, contracts were contracts. I still had like a year to run on my contract. And I thought, well, it's a bit of security. I'll sign the 3-year. I did have a clause in there to say if any clubs come in for me, you need to let me know. And that was it, really. You know, the Liverpool thing died out. I think they signed Steve Staunton in the end. So yeah, it left a bit of a bitter taste in the mouth, because that was a move I really wanted, and I think for my own career, it was to play in that top flight. That's something I never did in my career, and I know that I was, was more than capable of doing that. And what a side to go to in Liverpool. And yeah, it just, as I say, petered out. And I think we won the league that year. It was the year we won the league. It was mid-season that happened, and then at the end of the season, I think Chelsea come in for me, and I think Man United made a bid. Norwich put an offer in, but in the end of the day, Harry was never going to let me go, and I was in his plans. And and Willow will tell you, when you're in Harry's plans, you're in Harry's plans. And I just got on with it. It's one of those things that happen in football. I would like to say that, if I went higher leagues, that I would have, progressed even more. But I look back now and I said I had a great career at Bournemouth, and that's how I look at it. We had some great seasons there, great players, and I had some great memories.
And Willow, Neil reminded me of an overhead kick that you attempted when we played Arsenal. I guess that put paid to any big money moves that people were looking at you at the time.
Mate, I'd made my big money move to Bournemouth. that was the deal for me, no doubt. We got beat 3-0 at Arsenal.
Yeah, I remember it.
Really? Joe Payton come out and cut me in half. I think Mark... No, who was it? Was it Wrighty was playing then? I don't know. He tapped one in.
Yeah, he was, yeah.
Charlie Nicholas was as well, I think.
Was he really?
Yeah, Tony Adams, I remember playing that day as well.
But you definitely did an overhead kick, didn't you? I didn't dream it.
Well, do you remember my Leicester goal? I'm going to get stuck into you here.
Go on.
You don't remember it?
Describe it for us.
Was it away at Filbert Street?
Of course.
Yeah. I was there.
Oh, you can. It's on YouTube. Have a look at it. I'll bet none of you could do this. It was 70 yards out. Just have a look. It was a little scissor kick.
Was it?
Do you remember we played Leicester 3 Boxing Days on the spin?
I went to them. Yeah, dreadful trips.
That was one. That was one game. But have a look at that goal. That might be my favourite for Bournemouth. I got 30, I think, or something, but I don't like Mozzie didn't get that many because
I used to set him up, Willow.
So did the move to coaching come naturally for you both?
No, not for me. I hated it. I wanted to be one of the lads still. Found it very difficult. I like coaching. I like set plays, and I like defending set plays, organising. But the other stuff didn't really interest me. I think you'll. I don't know. We're all different, aren't we? You try to do the best, but I always want to be one of the lads. And when it's that way, it's tough. But I do like the smart moves that when with set plays come. I mean, even to this day, there's some things I see Eddie do, and there's just a 10% of mine in there, which is pretty cool.
Good. I have one last question from the sort of playing time, if I can. The Ian Bishop, was he as good as he looked? Because to all of us in the stands, he just looked like as a player, he just looked a class above most of the midfielders we used to play against. Was he that good in training?
Do you know he's just been over?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
You know, I almost tried to. He's doing, I think, what you lads are doing with a podcast. You might want to link up.
Yeah.
I can give you a number. He's the best player I've ever played with. Not the best centre forward or the best defender, but the best player. He was unbelievable. I used to pass the ball into him round his bollocks, and he'd control it and move on and get me out of the shit.
Yeah.
He was the best player for me. Did you play with him, Mark?
Yeah. I was there. Yeah, he was top class. I think the Man City game away was obviously the game that maybe got him his transfer to Man City in the end when we were 3-0 down at half time. If you remember, Willow, we were playing unbelievable at Main Road. The second from last day of the season, and Man City had to win to go up.
Yeah.
And there was 30-odd thousand there. I've just watched it on YouTube, actually. It was an unbelievable game. We were brilliant. We were absolutely brilliant. We were 3-0 down at half time.
Well, have a look at my goal at Leicester.
Widow, I've got it already. I've got it on my list here to do.
I've got
Put it all over the world.
I've got a question from Minty on Twitter, which is for you, Mozzie. Were you you were part of the 91-92 squad, which missed out on the playoffs by just 3 points. What did you think of that squad? Because that had Jimmy Case and Mark Morris in it, as well as Ikoku, Vince Bartram, and Matty Holmes.
Again, a terrific squad of players. We had a terrific season, and I think Chicken George was there, George Lawrence, and I think Dave Langan, was there then. We had some quality players, and we were like pushing for the playoffs place. And I think the last game, or one of the last games, was at Shrewsbury away, where I scored the header. We went 1-0 up. I think we had to win to stand any chance of getting into the playoffs, but we had to rely on other results. And I went up for a corner game, headed on the far post, top corner. I jumped at a stanchion. I've got a picture of me up on the stanchion saluting the crowd. About 2 minutes later, we're 3-1 down. And couldn't believe it. And when we went in at the end of the game, obviously the results didn't go for us anyway, so we wouldn't have made the playoffs. But we pushed so hard that season. But we had some quality players. And again, a good bunch of lads. And as I say, we just missed off on that playoff place.
You were there, Paul, as well, for the transition between Harry Redknapp and Tony Pulis. A big, massive change in styles. What was that like as a player going between the two managers?
So, two totally different styles of management. It's one of those things. You play with Tony as a player, then he becomes manager. Obviously, different rules, and I've got to be totally honest with you here. I wasn't a big lover of his style of football, his style of training. Willow Hotel, we used to run for England. We used to run all day long. I don't think we saw a ball in pre-season until about 4 weeks into the season. We used to run for England. I said, if I wanted to be an athlete, I would have joined an athletics club. But yeah, we had some run-ins, me and Tony. I had some good times with him, but it was a different style of management. And probably towards the latter end, the second season, I was in and out the squad. I wasn't particularly happy. There were certain things going on at the club I wasn't happy with. I wasn't happy with my own self. It got to the stage at the end of the season where Tony offered me a contract, a reduced contract. And I decided, no, I'm not accepting it, and I left.
We don't like reduced.
No, I bet you don't.
No,
I bet you don't.
Not as reduced as he was trying to get me down to. I've got to be honest with you.
And Willow, you obviously came back to the club as assistant manager, and you went through some difficult times because there was that dismissal, then your reappointment when we found some more money. What was that like? And then of course you go in to become a radio star. So it's been a bit of a career for you, hasn't it?
Very lucky, but I came back to do the School of Excellence, which I enjoyed immensely. 10 to 16s, Eddie, Mossy, Cole Fletcher. I remember one windy, furious night at Chapelgate. You remember? I don't know if you've been over there, but you know there's AstroTurf. Yeah. This night was furious. The wind was horrendous. So me and Tony Pulis, went over there to say to the lads, look, we can't even keep the balls on the pitch. Just go home. Guess who the two people were who became players were that night? Everybody else didn't turn up.
Don't know who.
Eddie and Cole Fletcher.
Huh.
They were the only two that turned up that night, which tells you, is that what it takes to be a footballer? You know, their mums picked them up and brought them over. It's one of them things sticks in my mind, and I'm like, bloody hell, that is what it takes.
Yeah, very much so. Willow, how did the radio gig start? How did you get the radio work?
Towards the end of my career, I had dislocated my shoulder, and I wasn't 100% with it. And do you remember the Leeds fixture?
Oh yeah.
Where they went nuts.
Yeah.
Horses, people, and I got a taxi to, what was that pub called by Kings Park? Portman.
The Portman
Hotel.
Yeah. Portman Hotel.
I don't think it's there now, is it?
No, it's a block of flats now, I think.
Right. So the taxi driver gets me there and he goes, well, I'm fucked. I can't go anywhere. The traffic was, so I start walking and I've got my arm in a sling because the dislocation. And I meet these Leeds fans and I think, fucking hell, I'm going to get a paste in here. But then they started talking and they walked me to the players' entrance and I was, thank you, and all the rest of it, went in. Then, do you remember we used to have that box in the left-hand corner as you come out of the changing rooms?
Yeah.
That's where so I was on the radio. So that was my first one, and that's the way it started.
What a start that was, crikey.
I know. They turned the BBC car over, which is quite funny.
I always think when we look back at the greatest moments that have happened under Eddie Howe, when you watch back, listen to the radio commentary of them, nearly every single one of them have got you shouting, yes, in the background. So it's something to be really proud of.
I get bollockins for that, left, right, and centre. Yeah.
So you can tell from his commentary, I've had to give him a couple of tickets off recently for shouting down the mic when goals have gone in, which he got out of the habit of doing.
Edge of the penalty area. Here's Billing on his right foot, not his stronger side. Lerma outside him. Here's Jefferson Lerma, and here's a goal for Callum Wilson. The flag stays down in the 6-yard box. 8 minutes gone. Lerma sets it up. Callum Wilson silences the cock.
I think it's great. I think it's great.
Yeah. Well, you can't help it, can you?
No.
I've got a question from Rob Willow. He says, do you still travel to away matches in that tiny BBC Radio Solent van?
Do you know what? Whatever car is there is what we drive. It's nothing to do with me. It's Chris sorts it out. It's out of my control, that one.
He said he remembers seeing you stuck in a traffic jam on the M3, like sardines in a can.
Mate, we've been in so many traffic jams. It's unbelievable. And I'll tell you this one as well. It was me who put the petrol in the wrong tank.
We've all done it.
Have you? Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone's done that. Excellent. Well, look, guys, I think we've kept you long enough. I mean, I'd just like to ask quickly. We've obviously the current season we haven't really talked about, and how the team has done. But where do you think it's going to end up? And if there is a resumption, do you think we're going to stay up, or do you think it's just going to be knocked on the head, as you said earlier?
Go on, Moz.
I think Willow said it at the beginning, really. I think there's bigger things than football at the moment. And, football should come second to what's going on in the world at the moment. And, and to start football again, I don't think would be right. I've got to be honest. I think Willow was totally right in what he said. Scrap the season, start all at 0 points. And, if they don't start by, June, they're saying June, aren't they? They're looking at, I can't see it myself. Then I think, realistically, I think you've got to say the season's over and just move on and start again. And I think Willow's totally right in what he said about, there's lots of other things that are more important than football at the moment.
Yeah, well, look, I think
we all miss it greatly. I know Willow must do, I do. I still go to the club and watch the games. I'm missing football dreadfully. And I can't wait for it to come back, but it's got to be done safely. The supporters, players, and everyone alike, because you've got emergency services, you've got the whole caboodle at football games, police. So, there's a lot to think about.
Well, look, it's been absolutely brilliant fun talking with you and talking back over that season in particular, because both Neil and I remember it very, very fondly. It was one of the best seasons. And in fact, I'm reading revisiting a book about it at the moment where he says that is the best season and we'll never see the like again. And here we are. We've been in the Premier League 5 seasons now. And
just one thing before I go.
Yeah, go for it.
Why do I need these and everybody else is okay?
We've all got
them in it.
Oh, have you?
Headphones on, mate. Yeah.
They're not earrings, Willow. They're headphones.
I need glasses, don't I?
But this has been the first topless interview I've ever conducted, so I'd just like to say thank you so much both for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure, and Neil, thanks again for being part of this. Been brilliant fun.
Loved it.
Hopefully we'll catch up when football restarts, because love to have a beer with you guys and talk some more stories. That'd be great.
Okay, lad.
Okay.
Well done. Good night. Well done.
Yeah. Stay safe, everyone. Take care.
Yeah. Cheerio.
Remember, if you've enjoyed this video, feel free to hit the like button and also click subscribe as well, as we'll alert you to the next interview that we're having, and it's a big one. You don't want to miss it. It's at the usual time, 8 PM on a Sunday night, so we hope you can join us then. Until then though, up the cherries, and we'll see you in the next video.